Hello? Hey, do you like games like Rimworld or Dwarf Fortress? Do you perhaps relate with Sauron or the Crypt Keeper?
Good help is so hard to find.
Do you want to live deep in the side of a mountain and watch dogs play with angels? Dial in then, because today we're talking about keeperrl. It's an indie game, fully released in 2024 by Electric Succubi. You play the role of an evil wizard, heroic dictator, budding necromancer, lonely Cyclops, goblin king, gnomes, dwarves, etc. In each scenario, you'll build a dungeon to eventually protect you from your enemies, recruit workers and warriors, raid villages to grow your personal power as a leader, and pillage everything you can. This game can take a short time or a long time, depending on how carefully you micromanage your faction. You can have a perfect run and become an unstoppable legend, only to lose it all because you overestimated your chances. There's more to say about this game's features, but at this point, I'd just like to share some of my stories I've collected while playing. First off, the Necromancer, a faction I've played quite a lot. The thing about this faction is that you're always watching the clock, because if anyone is caught outside come dawn, they'll be atomized by the sun, your leader included. This faction doesn't recruit, it crafts new units through the morgue bench. Early on, I like to make at least one zombie priest to lead my armies, 2 artisans to build armor and weapons, and then as many zombies as I can to work in the mines or to rush headfirst into any threat. If a zombie falls over, they may be missing a limb, but that's not my problem. I can't heal them, so I'm just going to banish them or destroy their body to save myself the trouble of keeping up with them. After you pillage a village, you'll see the bodies and body parts of your fallen enemies and comrades. You can use them to craft even stronger undead like the vampires, slashers, and skeleton or zombie kings. And you don't have a population cap to worry about. Just remember, you still need to arm them, train them, and let them rest from time to time. As you amass gold, you'll want to make a phylactery, because if your character dies, they'll come right back to life. No need to use Alt F4 to save scum. But I'm still going to do it because phylacteries aren't cheap. Lastly, avoid tight spaces, please. Don't try to fight the elementalist in their home. Now that you have a better framework of how Necromancer works, it's story time. Johann Shakespeare was a reclusive I don't have enough letters. Johann Shakespeare was a reclusive and cruel man. But like many of us, he had a dream. To fill the world with as much inappropriate poetry and smut as he could. His life changed when he summoned a demon who really liked his last Rule 34 post on Reddit. The demon attacked a village in Johann's name just to go back to hell immediately. Not very strong. By the way, this happened more than once, each demon varying in strength. Johann put his words to the page. He knew that one day he would become a skeleton. No normal blow would make Mr. Shakespeare feel the sensation of touch. He fantasized about slaying a bad dragon so he could mount it and keep it around for his own personal use. His audience loved his work, but the world at large wanted him gone, triggered by his genius. His fan base tried to protect him, but one day he went too far in his research, and he paid with his ambitions until he couldn't pay anymore. In his mad lust for inspiration, Johann Shakespeare caught a serious case of fire crotch. But I know if he was here today, he would tell you he wouldn't have it any other way. My next playthrough was as the Gnomes, which involves making mechanized metal armies to do the dirty work for them. Of course, you start off with wooden ones, so either way, you're going to go over to the crafting bench, you're going to look for different parts unique to the faction, and you're going to put them all together in a corpus. Just make sure they have hands and legs to move. Also, I just want to say how much I love these gnomes working together. No fighting, just thriving. Anyways, I started us in a desert, and quickly realized I was going to be short on wood. We dug deep down, eventually finding mushrooms made of lumber so we could craft our first army. But each gnome could only take a few logs at a time, and this takes a while when they have to go up about 3 floors. After a total of 8 in-game days, we did it. We had wooden golems to help us in the mines and take care of any security issues they may come across. But unfortunately, wooden golems aren't that great. So we went digging again, finding iron and adamantine, and quickly manufactured soldiers to steamroll our enemies. This is when something unexpected happened. We found a new lair I've never seen, Infernite ore, Audaxium ore. Two elements that were a mystery to me. I mobilized our metal men into hell itself to begin excavation immediately. However, hell had different plans. Lava golems. At first, I thought we had it under control, but lava golems began to spawn out from the walls, destroying my workers. I sent a task force of adamantine soldiers to take care of it, but they couldn't even win against their enemies. The lava golems' guerrilla tactics surrounded us, and their skin was too tough to break. Soon, my automatons were even running from the fight. So, I called my warriors out from the depths and sealed off the stairs forever. I realized at this point I could make traps, but the only ones I wanted to make were the gargoyles. But look at them go. We rebuilt and took on the world. Nothing could stop us, and our losses were eclipsed by the destruction we caused. My gnomes lived in luxury, never seeing the front lines because of the safety and security our robot army provided. I wanted to continue this story to its end, but when I tried to load the save, I found out it quiet quit on me. So, without being able to finish, we must simply say goodbye to the gnomes of Oiserinki. This is the tragic story of Roger the Cyclops. Roger was born into this world alone, no mother and father that he could find. He wandered the forest all of his life, until one day he came across a village of humans. Though they were scared of his size at first, these loving people let him into their homes, where he played tag with the other kids and had a secure bed watching their money. One day, Roger went to check on his littlest and sickest brother, Gerald. Gerald had been ill frequently since birth, but always wanted to play tag like the other kids. He begged Roger just to tag him once. But when Roger tagged him, he accidentally broke the frail boy's neck. Roger was distraught. He had never caught anyone before, so he didn't know the depths of his own strength. He would grab them, shake them, hoping they would listen, but accidentally killed most of his family in the process. Heartbroken, Roger fled as quick as he could. He built a house deep in the mountains so that he would hurt no one ever again, but rage brewed inside of his heart. And that's when he saw them, the survivors of the massacre. At this point in the game, I didn't know what he was going to do, so I let him off the hook. And immediately I regretted that. He chased every one of those kids down, crushing them in a mad blitz, or just letting nature deal with them. Roger could no longer be reasoned with, and he had become the very monster he was trying not to be. He posted on a board outside, hoping that if anyone came by his home, they would run. The twisted faces and mangled bodies of his victims haunted Roger in his sleep. He would leave his home regularly at night, looking for fights, hoping that someone in this world could bring an end to his miserable existence. But his superior strength and durability made that almost impossible. One night he came across a lonely cottage. He bust down the door and started a fight with everything inside, finding his match in the tag team tactics of equine. That's right. Roger, after all of his plight, was killed by kicks to the head from a horse and a donkey. Roger only wanted to be accepted, but not all tales have a happy ending. Sad story, huh? You want to know how to avoid it? Well, when you're controlling only one character, you're gonna get jumped a lot. But as the Hermit Cyclops, there's a small checklist I'll let you in on. 1. Make some potions, ideally healing, invisibility, and speed. 2. Make some bling, a regeneration necklace and a ring of spying specifically. The purpose of the regen is obvious, but the ring will let you infiltrate enemy bases to scope them out. And even if you steal from or kill off enemies, they'll let you do it while their friends watch. And 3, there are always bandits in your starting area. Destroy them and find a key. Survive until you see an Audaxian priest. Look for a little gateway inside his home. Use the key, steal everything there with the invisibility potions, and equip as much of it as you can. You want to make your own armor and weapons to start the game, but if you're interested in anything better, like an Infernite axe, get a fire resistance ring and equip it. Follow these tips and the throne of victory will be yours. Explosia, the world's #1 choice pick when it comes to causing mayhem and chaos. As the evil wizard faction, Explosia was trained in all sorts of spells and mischief. Unlike the Necromancer, Knight, and other factions, the wizard gets almost everything. They can recruit from a vast array of different units, have more building options to choose from, and sports the wildest parties Johann wishes he could get into. And her starting position couldn't have been better. We had fast access to iron and gold, no shortage on short recruits, and a powerful archmage to lead us to victory. She tamed and recruited a Kieran that lived above her dungeon, then started on her path to world domination. The Hydra, beheaded. Giant Spider, squished. Explosia led her troops across the planet, taking everything she wanted and leaving few survivors behind. But, ever the adventurous spirit, she would go off on her own to explore, which wasn't a great idea. Explosia held her breath, trying not to wake the Cyclops, but noticed the chirps of a mouse. She quickly cornered and disposed of it, only to find trouble. Explosia tried to box with the Cyclops, but was no match for him. That is, if she didn't have her spells to heal herself while she poked him from a distance. Whenever he closed the gap, Explosia would vanish. If that was on cooldown, she would teleport away instead. Eventually, the Cyclops fell, and Explosia reconvened with her army to continue the carnage of her conquest. The Holy Church was called in to stop Explosia's explosive growth. She was given an option: fight one-on-one in an honorable duel against a well-known and fearsome knight, or hide in her base with her minions as a crusade rushes through her hallways. She took the latter option, and Explosia's vision faded as she was shot dead by an arrow. Turns out, while I was doing well to gather resources, I had not yet fully understood the prisoner system, which would have given me better workers to make better gear. But, in the end, I was proud of Explosia. Not for the slaughters, but for living a life of first experiences. I could keep telling you stories about my time playing keeperrl, but I'm almost done editing. So, go experience it for yourself. The sprites and graphics are crisp, the background music is cozy and different depending on which biome you find yourself in, and the adventures are limitless. The devs put a lot of love and time into this game, and the community has plenty of mods for you to enjoy. Just make sure they're up to date with 1.0. I also wanted to give more credit to the amazing soundtrack, which I actually bought so I could score this video with it and give you a sample of what it has to offer. You can buy the game and/or the soundtrack on Steam, GOG, or their website, which offers you a deal. Pay $20 to a wildlife charity and get the game for free. And look at these faces. Those are descriptions you can trust. I adore this little dungeon master simulator, so try it out, and don't forget to share your stories in the comments. Before we end our time here, I thought I'd talk about the features just a little bit more. Like, if you want to access all of the factions right off the bat, you can go into the settings and unlock the content from there. Kudos to the devs for adding such a special feature for its players to enjoy. There's also a retired dungeon mechanic, where if you beat the game, you can retire your dungeon, so you can see it in subsequent playthroughs. Lastly, if you were particularly proud of your dungeon, or just want to play some silly prank on someone, you can turn your dungeon into a mod, and have other players experience what you have waiting for them. And if you ever wanted to meet Johann Shakespeare, Explosia, or anyone else from this video, I've uploaded most of my dungeons to the Steam Workshop. Search DialToneShow and enjoy. This game is hard, but not impossible. It's really about setting up a world for you to play in. A sandbox of your very own. Except, instead of just playing on the surface, you're gonna dig up and down, exploring the possibilities. Genuinely, I thank you for watching and appreciate your time. I want to do more reviews like this in the future, so if you like this video, consider subscribing and I'll be sure to keep posting. I also have a Patreon with the policy of $1 and you get your name in the credits for every video going forward. You can also send me ideas for other videos to review. Until then, get yourself a good meal, do something that relaxes you, and rest easy. You deserve it. DialTone, out.